Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Let's go to KT, former Deputy National Security Advisor. And KT, the big news everybody's talking about is this interesting post on Truth Social by President Trump saying he's not going to go to his own son's wedding. He says for love of the country, and right after this rally, he's going right back to the White House. How do you read that?
I think they're in the middle of making a very serious decision of the next couple of days. So, having watched President Trump and worked for him and seen him every day in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room, he negotiates very differently from most leaders. Most leaders will say, well, we're having a negotiation, so we're going to stop our military pressure. We're going to ease up on the sanctions. So they kind of reward whoever they're negotiating with just for the fact that they're negotiating. Trump doesn't. He leaves the pressure on while they're negotiating. So the sanctions are left on, the blockade is left on while Iran is negotiating. And it's pretty clear we've now seen that two leaders of two countries, Pakistan and Qatar, are rushing to Iran to try to see if there's some way they can have some kind of a deal that's acceptable to President Trump. Otherwise, I think President Trump's going to use military action within the next few days. I mean, if he's saying he's not going to his son's wedding, that means he's going to be in the White House Situation Room.
Yeah, and he was supposed to go, KT, originally to Bedminster was his plan, and then from there, spend most of the weekend there. So he's clearly kind of rerouting the weekend, like you said. One thing I saw also, KT, was this is if you believe that he's even still alive, the supreme leader of Iran. There was an official statement that came out. They're really defiant. I mean, he just came out and said, we're going to keep the nuclear material in our country. In other words, it's not going anywhere. And that's clearly President Trump's red line. So they seem to be upping the ante, if you will. And maybe that's part of why we are where we are.
Well, I think that's their attitude is they'd rather die than give up their nuclear weapons. And maybe they haven't figured out that Donald Trump is a different kind of leader, that he'll pull the trigger. He's not going to give them a little bit more time and delay, and then they reach an agreement, and then they unreach the agreement, wash, rinse, repeat. That's not President Trump, and he's not going to sign a bad deal, and he knows the clock is ticking. And for Iran to try to string it out for another week or 2 or 3, President Trump needs to get the gasoline prices down this summer. And the only way he's going to do that is to open the strait, and the only way he's going to do that is probably militarily, because this regime has shown that they don't want a deal. And maybe there's somebody in Iran who does. Maybe there's some of the leaders who do. But whoever is issuing the statements now, and it's probably the guys with the guns.
Well, there's so many people there. There's confusion. I compared it to the Planet of the Apes. You have the chimpanzees in Iran that are the intellectuals, and you have the gorillas that want more war, and then you have the orangutans that were the scientists that were where the nuclear sites were.
John, I can't believe that you're comparing this to Planet of the Apes, but it's actually extremely accurate. They do have the so-called, the guys with the guns jumping up and down. They want to fight. And then you do have the pragmatists, the political leaders, who say, look, we know that when a post-war Iran has to rebuild everything, and we need money to do it, and we're only going to get money to do it if we have our energy infrastructure intact. And then you have the intellectuals who are not the guys with the guns, the guys who are going to be responsible for rebuilding the infrastructure, and not just the military intellectuals, not just the nuclear scientists, but the people, the engineers, the people who are going to actually make Iran work. I think we're in a very I think President Trump's going to make a decision one way or the other this weekend.
I do too.
I think it's coming, and we don't know what's coming, but Memorial Day weekend, we might be playing that song. How do you say it for Lee Greenwood?
Oh, God bless the USA. Yeah.
Well,
Wait, here's a little bit of it. Here's a little bit of it.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up.
You can never go wrong with that. Wow.
You never go wrong with that
Yeah, John
song
and
on
I
Memorial
both,
Day.
you and I both look at you. We're so sentimental. It really is. I'm so proud of our troops. Governor Patterson.
You know, KT, I think that President Trump, by making threats and then stepping back, and making threats and stepping back, has psyched out whoever is in Iran, whoever's running the show, into actually believing that it's not going to happen. And if they are going to hold on to this kind of macho way of governing, they're going to wind up being decimated.
Completely. You know, President Trump's not pulling on because he's indecisive. This is all part of his negotiating strategy,
Exactly.
kind of lulling them in and telling them, well, maybe it's a week, maybe it's 2 weeks. I think Memorial Day weekend is the time he makes his decision. I think that the symbolism of Memorial Day weekend is important. And I think President's choice, if he has no choice, that he's got to do something, because these guys are not leaving. They're going to only leave in a coffin. And the only way he's going to get them out of getting their hands off the nuclear trigger is to eliminate them. So I think the military action will be as follows. Eliminate the remaining military sites, in some cases 20%, 25% of the missiles, drones, industrial manufacturing. I think it's to take out the second, third, fourth tier of the leadership, and not necessarily the energy infrastructure right now, but to take out and not only with the United States doing it, and not only the United States and Israel, but remember, this is the significance of all this is if you had said a year ago, you would have the Gulf Arabs, the Saudis, fighting with Israel on the side of the United States against Iran, everybody would have laughed at you.
Right, that's remarkable.
He has already reconfigured the chessboard in the Middle East.
Absolutely. KT, thank you. Really appreciate always getting your great insight. Thank you, and have a good weekend. Thank you, KT.
And I'm just, as a Sicilian myself, my father's parents were born in Sicily. I want to say that the combination of Greek, Sicilian, man, this kid's going to rule the world.
Oh, my God. I mean, I'm going to go see him afterwards, and, well, you know, it's going to be interesting. KT, if you're out to, you know where we have breakfast with? I'm not going to announce it on the air. I think Bruce Blakeman is coming to breakfast tomorrow morning at 9:30.
God bless Bruce. Let's hope that New York has a success and that California has a success.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
God
KT.
bless.